embraces you, joy nourishes you, and hope re-inspires you. I pray your steps be led by faith, that your heart be open wide enough for love to stream in, that you create with your entire soul, that your work be fueled by passion, that you share your gifts with us generously and joyfully. I pray that all you touch blossoms and blooms, that you speak truth, that all you speak heals and uplifts, and all that you see is opportunity, that you accept the invitation to live. I hope that life treats you kindly, that ease, softness, light, and abundance be your portion, that you always know that you lack no good thing, that all you have and all you are is enough. I pray you don't miss the glory of today, chasing the hope of tomorrow, that you may soak up all the beauty placed at your feet. I pray you see the magic of your life, of your love. I pray peace, contentment, and trust guide your every decision, that you always remember everything in this moment is okay. You are safe, you are secure, you are always enough. May you always know that you are a blessing, that the world is blessed because you are here with us. I pray you don't rob this earth, this day, of the gift that is you. Take a deep breath. It is a miracle. You are a miracle. May your days be as light, miraculous, freeing as breath. I hope the world treats you kind. 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 Goodness. I hope the world treats you kind. Oh, I hope the world treats you kind. Goodness. I hope the world treats you kind.
Great. Thank you for that. And our gift that is today is this webinar Mountain Talk about the Marcon Institute here at Lehigh and with Dr. Holona Ochs. Hi, everybody. My name is Jennifer Cunningham. I'm the AVP for Alumni Relations at Lehigh and your host for today. Thank you all for being here. We've got about 42 people on the call, and we're going to hear from Dr. Ochs for about 15 minutes while she tells us about the amazing Marcon Institute and what it's doing for Lehigh and for our students and our whole community. And then we'll have time for your questions. We are recording this, so if you do have to hop off early, you can come back. We'll send you the link to watch it later, to share with your friends. Dr. Ochs said before, the more that we can get the word out about the Marcon Institute, the better. So none of this is proprietary information. You're welcome to share it far and wide. And to ask a question, even while she is speaking, you can use the chat. It's here at the bottom of the screen, and I think you all know by now, you just click on that. You can send a chat to everyone in the webinar or just to us as the panelists. I will read your question or comment aloud to Dr. Ochs. And the success of these really depends on your questions. It's a lot more fun to hear from the audience than for me to be interviewing. So please do think of questions and comments and ask as we go along. And with that, I will turn it over to Holona just a little note about where she came from. She got to Lehigh in 2009, was at Howard University previously, and she got her graduate degrees at the University of Kansas. So you're a long way from home. All right, take it away.
Thank you. Everyone loves to say that. And I am, in fact, clicking my heels as we speak, if that matters to anybody. But welcome. Good afternoon. And I want to thank everyone for spending your lunch hour with me to learn about the Marcon Institute. Now, my students tell me that sometimes I'm all business, so much so that I often forget to introduce myself. So today I'd like to start with a short story about me. When I was about 5 years old, we were at a powwow in Medicine Lodge. Before I get started, I said I'm going to tell you about me. If you want to learn about me, scan that QR code. That QR code is my digital business card. And I will make this presentation publicly available. As Jennifer said, I don't see any of this as proprietary. I hope that any part of it that you find useful, you integrate into your practice, into your family or work life. And also feel free to contact me at any time if you want to get involved with the Marcon Institute. So as I said, I will tell you a brief story about me. When I was 5, we were at a powwow in Medicine Lodge. I'm not sure. I'm not going to assume people know what a powwow is. A powwow is a gathering of Native Americans, Indigenous communities, First Nations peoples, open to everyone. It's a place where we come together to dance, to sing, to ground ourselves, to be in community with each other. And like I said, it's open to all. And there are a lot of dance competitions, a lot of incredible food. For me, it's really fulfilling. This powwow in Medicine Lodge when I was 5 was different. I remember overhearing some kids around my age at that time. They were on a field trip. They were making fun of the ceremony, the dancers, their skin, their clothing, hair. Honestly, by that point, I was filled with so much rage and shame. Now, I can't remember all the denigrating things they said. What I do remember is internalizing the shame and slinking down in my seat for fear that they would turn on me next. I didn't even question the validity of their biting humor. I wasn't brave. I was ashamed. To this day, I'm ashamed, but for a different reason. Because of what I didn't do in that moment. Not at all ashamed of my association with a beautiful tradition. Yet in that moment, I felt like my only choices were wrath or shame. I'll never choose shame again. But wrath is as destructive. As an adult, I've learned that those emotions do not organize constructive forces. Love is the only principled response. The Marcon Institute is all about a new vision of love, a vision put forth by bell hooks. Now, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. Hate is the rage of those who do not share our goals, and alternatively, anger. Anger is the frustration, hurt, and fear that we all can feel when we don't understand each other. Now, those words are not mine. Those teachings come from Audre Lorde and bell hooks. there are many forms of love, and we tend to overemphasize the importance of romantic love. According to bell hooks, love as an organizing principle requires fostering benevolence, which is a genuine regard for others. Genuine love is an action that feeds our sense of self and that of others. Genuine love is care, carefully listening and nurturing our sense of self. Genuine love is commitment. Our commitment to love lays the groundwork for truth. We must commit to honesty, accuracy, motivated reasoning, and transparency. Genuine love is also knowledge. That includes information, skills, experiences, all acquired through education and mentorship, all of which give us a theoretical and practical understanding of a subject. Now, knowledge requires familiarity. So we need to create the space for our sharing anti-racist knowledge and experiences with each other across our perceived differences. Those ideas, theories, myths, and imaginaries that initiate the process of what John Powell, the director of the Haas Institute for Inclusivity, refers to as othering, which separates us in our minds. Genuine love requires trust. Building trust requires good faith in our relationships with each other. Following through on our promises, mutuality in our exchanges, and reciprocity, the pattern of mutuality that we share. Genuine love is also responsible. It's a duty to care and respect, deep admiration for the qualities and abilities that we ourselves have, and respect for the qualities and abilities of others. Radical love refers to the practice of offering genuine love without regard for who deserves it. Radical love is the act of giving genuine love even to those who are hard to love. And Audre Lorde teaches us that even the well-meaning can perpetuate racism. Consequently, we must listen carefully to those whose lived experiences afford them tremendous knowledge of racist systems and act with integrity and good faith. Moreover, scholars of Black political thought teach us that white supremacy is a problem that people with white privilege must do the work to repair. To quote the Lehigh Strategic Plan 21 to 26, quote, Lehigh's unequivocal commitment to being an institution that strives to enhance diversity, inclusion, and equity has been articulated in the DE&I plan. Lehigh is I should clarify, this is the Lehigh DE&I plan, not the Lehigh overall strategic plan, which I'll talk about a little later as well. The Marcon Institute is planting seeds, cultivating the cultural connections and growing those commitments to anti-racism at Lehigh and in our local communities. We'll then study it and share its successes, hopefully for a model that other communities will embrace. When we think about how we know what we know, it's important to understand that our relationships don't just shape our reality, they are our reality. Relationships are our reality. Accountability to and transparency with others allows us to access knowledge that would otherwise be unavailable to us. It also requires trust and trustworthiness. Engaging in knowledge production is a loving act when we share it with others. When we engage in reciprocity and act with mutual respect, we co-create a shared reality with love as an organizing principle. We can build a more peaceful community for all of those who act with love. In Go, Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. Baldwin teaches us using the perspective-taking narration of several characters. allowing us to understand people within the context as they understand it, and gives us enough detail for us to assess whether or not they are trustworthy, whether or not they are a trustworthy and reliable narrator, as he tells the story of self-invention, grappling with rage that's engendered by an unjust world, until we're all left at the end of the book with the exhaustion and compassion of rebirth and transformation. Baldwin doubles down on that message of salvation. And the message he sends is very specific. Salvation can only be achieved through love, which necessitates listening and understanding one another and acting on that knowledge with love. In his classic about the Atlantic child murders, The Evidence of Things Not Seen, his effort to render the invisible visible is a crucial strategy in the struggle for freedom. Scholarship in Black politics, like that of Dr. Julia Jordan Zachary, illuminates the ways in which public discourses and policies render Black women invisible. Now, her work has been cynically described as esoteric, and some other responses by white academics to her work similarly reinforce her point about how silencing itself functions in discursive ways to imbue power to whiteness. The point about rendering the invisible visible is that some people seem to prefer plucking out their own eyes to restoring justice. But Dr. Jay-Z teaches us the power of embodiment, voice, and silence to free us from the scripts that limit all our humanity. Her book, Shadow Bodies, implores us to re-examine the construction of community at the intersection of race, class, gender, and sexuality. Otherwise, we are all ruled by our shadows. According to Paulo Freire, without a vision for tomorrow, hope is impossible. And in teaching community, Bell Hooks demonstrates that, quote, academic challenges to hatred, though meaningful, do not reach enough of our nation's citizens. And then again, in Pedagogy of the Heart, Paulo Freire advocates for democracy. And he argues that the atmosphere of teaching, learning, and studying can be liberatory when we engender confidence over conflict, when we are open and actively listening, and respect and affirm the freedom of others as well as our own. In effect, the dominance of others is overcome by sharing knowledge through mutually beneficial partnerships, but these partnerships must be with the community and go beyond elitist traditions in the academy, and go beyond the elitist traditions in the academy. Research is ceremony. It's a ceremony of storytelling, and the stories we tell matter, and they matter as much as the people do. Moreover, the people in our stories should matter to us all the people in our stories. Speaking of stories, I have a story for you. An aerospace engineer walks into a bar. So Joe's good. Aerospace engineers don't drink. We all know this. It's weird, and on Zoom, I'm getting no feedback. I have no idea if that's funny, but you're stuck with it. Let me tell you a story about the research of Dr. Ben Parslew. Dr. Ben Parslew is an aerospace engineer who studies the mechanics of flight to better design robots. Now, his team found that birds simultaneously control two processes when launching into flight. One, the direction of the launch, and two, the rotation or pitch of their body as they accelerate. You're seeing that right now, right? The pitch of the mountain hawk's body as it launches. Birds apparently have a spongy cushion in their legs that affords them the grace of a fluid launch. As it turns out, the wings, which if you're imagining as a kid, and I did, like, what it would be like to fly? You're always thinking that the wings are the thing. As it turns out, the wings don't contribute to the physics of the launch. And the ability to grip a perch allows the bird to jump in more directions than with their feet flat on the ground. This story helps me think about what it takes to launch the Marcon Mountain Hawks. I imagine the Marcon Institute itself as the cushion, providing the fluid, reliable and strong, safe, and the effective launch of ideas, the ideas of the fellows. The faculty, staff, and community leaders teach the young hawks to spread their wings, and we make sure that they have the space to build the confidence they need to actually fly. They need to be open, calm, confident, in order to take flight and experience the joy, happiness, and peace that comes along with that journey. I was disappointed when I did not see the term anti-racism or anti-racist in the LU strategic plan, the broader Lehigh University strategic plan that has just been released. To not see anti-racism or anti-racist in that broader strategic plan is disappointing, because that could be the perch, right? The perch that's crucial to the ability of the Mountain Hawks to launch themselves from all the directions that more privileged students with perches built on the wealth of several generations are afforded. I want to move on and bring us back to the important imagery and symbolism of our community. And it's the image of the griffin. And in this case, the image of the griffin capturing the snake, I've included because this is a symbol of hope. Now, the snake often represents rebirth, transformation, and sometimes even evil. The griffin represents the protection of precious things like people and knowledge from falsehoods and from evil, with courage, leadership, and strength. And I'm here today to ask for your courage, leadership, and strength as we work together to build a community organized around care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust. At the beginning of this presentation, I led with welcome. I invited you to be present with me. I want each of you to feel needed, befriended, heard, supported. And when you get involved with the Marcon Institute, you'll find that you're accepted. And let us know. Let us get to know you. Let us get to know how you want to get involved. I'll tell you more about that later. In the meantime, I'd love to share with you some of the highlights of our inaugural year. If you scan this QR code, it will take you directly to the Marcon Institute's 2022 annual report. I will leave that up. As I said, this presentation in full will be available to everyone. So that QR code will also be available to you. Very soon, the annual report will also be posted on our website. So that will be available to you very soon. There are a few things I want to show you, some highlights from the report that I think are worth discussing today. First of all, I'd like to take note of the fact that we had 15 fellows in our inaugural year, and we had 10 associate fellows. Marcon Fellows get paid $4,000 each for their projects. They are not paid for a deliverable. They are paid to support and value the leadership that they are providing to the community. And so I hope that we can grow this program so that students can have affordable housing, so that students are really valued in every possible way. The associate fellows are not paid, but they receive academic credit if that academic credit doesn't interfere with their financial obligations or ability to engage with other opportunities. So what I'm saying here is I don't like to turn anybody away. Anybody can do this work. What I like to do is find a way that it can be mutually beneficial and not exploitative at all. In 2022, we had 3 primary objectives that I would love to discuss with you in detail. Our first objective is to enhance the recruitment and retention of BIPOC. BIPOC meaning biracial, indigenous, people of color. It is a term designed to be inclusive. We are trying to build solidarity across all sort of identity groups, right? In all of the ways that people can identify. So this organization is not just for people of color. This is for everyone. But we're saying people of color haven't always been included. So let's start there and create a space where people can feel more included. So first we have to get people of color to want to come to Lehigh and stay with us and contribute to our community, because there's so much we gain when that happens. And I can say that in 2022, 100% of our fellows have been retained. We have a 100% graduation rate among those fellows who have graduated, 100% job placement rate among those fellows who have graduated. We have fellows who are working at the Rand Institute. We have fellows who are working in data science at Ipsos. We have fellows who are working in state politics, local politics, and national politics. Our fellows are moving on in really incredible ways. Their GPAs are fantastic. The average GPA of all of our fellows is 3.7, and over the course of 2022, we engaged 800 community members. So that is strictly through our programming. That's not just counting how many times our fellows interacted with people. That is the number of people who have engaged with our programming. We also hope to provide credible, public-facing, anti-racist scholarship. So in 2022, we were able to publish 9 public-facing articles. We produced 17 documentary, all of those were documentary shorts, under 12 to 15 minutes. They're considered documentary shorts. 7 workshops and 3 artist exhibitions. What you're seeing here is a picture of Afiwa Afandalu, whose narratives of love have been highlighted in the Lehigh University art galleries over the past year. She also provided a number of interactive workshops during the course of the Radical Love Conference in the spring of 2023. Our third goal is to enhance the sense of belonging in the community. And in terms of enhancing the sense of belonging, I think it's important to understand that a sense of belonging is a feeling that we can only measure by what people tell us. So we're building out a page on our website for people to submit autoethnographies. Tell us about your experiences of racism or anti-racism. We want to platform people's stories in their own words and help us get to know our neighbors in a different way, in a way that allows us to connect constructively. And so I've included several quotes from a few of our Marcon Fellows, but I would also like to share with you some of the work that our fellows have done. This is a documentary short produced by one of our fellows, Najee Miller, that highlights the work of 2 of our other fellows, Teresa Shenkovitz and Sammy Maps, who, along with their advisor, Dr. Brooke Sawyer, created Books for Belonging.
My hope is that
as we move forward and we get to a place where we have this concrete set of, really great, thorough resources for parents and teachers, that we can just expand and we can reach more schools and more libraries and get everyone on board, and hopefully get to a point where these conversations are really normal and these shared book reading experiences are happening with families all over, and that they're all getting something out of it.
Hold on, I think the sound went out.
Sorry, I'm not sure why
My name
that's
is
the
Sammy
case.
Maps. I am a junior engineering student, and I'm also in the College of Education for elementary education.
My name is Teresa. I use she, her pronouns. I am a second year PhD student in the school psychology program here at Lehigh. And our program, School Psychology as a Field, is really one in which we are motivated to help all students and strive for equity. And so this project was a really great opportunity to connect some of those with some other interests of mine as well.
What motivates me is my time in schools, especially in the Bethlehem area, and seeing the children and how they struggle with different things. And being in a culturally diverse area, which is not something I'm used to, I didn't grow up in a culturally diverse area, has really motivated me to want to help in every way that I can.
I do not, unfortunately, have time to share every aspect of the videos, but that is one example of the documentary shorts produced by some of our Marcon Fellows with our other Marcon Fellows that highlight some of the work that they're doing. So that, as I said, that documentary short was produced by Najee Miller. It highlights Books for Belonging, a project by a couple of our other 2022 Marcon Fellows, Teresa Shenkovitz and Sammy Maps. All of those documentary shorts can be found on playlists on the Marcon Institute YouTube channel, which I will also include links to, because you can find all of our documentaries there as they continue to be produced. We've also produced a number of more than 200 different video shorts where we've asked people to talk about love as an organizing principle. I know that I am way over time already, so I won't have a chance to show you any of those videos, but you can use that QR code to go to the playlist and listen to all of what our neighbors have to say about love as an organizing principle. We also interviewed 1,021 Americans about disruptive dogmas. In particular, and very specifically, we were looking at the mainstreaming of white supremacy. And what we found is that there are a disturbing number of Americans that endorse authoritarian values, and that there are stark partisan differences in these beliefs. There's a radical version of the Republican Party that has mainstreamed white nationalistic politics that has led to an increasing acceptance of what's called the Great Replacement myth. We are also working with scholars from Harvard and Princeton on research on the Great Replacement myth. And so this particular initiative explores how we can reinvest in American democracy. At the Marcon Institute, we think about research as storytelling. And I want to highlight 3 of our Marcon Fellows who were impeccable storytellers in 2022. Amber Brose presented her research at the United Nations World Peace Day. Hiwat Dimalash presented her research on sustaining a mass Black liberation movement based on the teachings of Malcolm X at the National Conference of Black Political Scientists. Ilian Dow and Gardini Deschamps won 2nd place at the 2022 LU Summer Research Expo. Quinsky Miguel pictured left here on your screen, established an ADE&I consultancy with community leader Guillermo Lopez and the G. Lopez DE&I Institute and Intersect Alliance. She has done several workshops on microaggressions and has had a tremendous impact on the community. In addition to that, we engaged with approximately 150 people over 2 days in a workshop on academic bullying. One project that I am incredibly excited about, and so is Mayor William Reynolds, Bethlehem, is Victoria Drismala's Diverse Future Leaders program. The Diverse Future Leaders internship program places a young person of color within the city of Bethlehem to lead not just DE&I initiatives, but to inform city politics and to bring, to platform young people of color and to help them get involved and engage with politics as leaders at a very young age. I'm so excited about that particular internship. Layla Ali was her first intern, and that is ongoing. We are hoping, I've been speaking with Mayor Reynolds about how we can expand that program. We are also building with the LU ombudsperson, Dr. Jennifer Swan, pictured here on the far right of your screen. We are building the Restorative Justice Lab, where we've already digitized the policing archives held by LU Special Collections, and that is thanks to Bimnet Kebede, who was a Marcon Fellow in 2022 and who is now a doctoral student at Brown University. I should also mention several of our scholars from the Douglas Dialogues team researching the mainstreaming of white supremacy are going on to law programs at Cornell University. I believe Rehan is going to Berkeley, but Tony is in the audience. He can tell me if I'm wrong about that. We've institutionalized public safety review at Lehigh. We are in the process of the final production of a restorative justice documentary to build the Restorative Justice Lab. We are building mediation certification, peer-to-peer mediation, and conflict resolution in collaboration with the International Institute for Restorative Practices, which is also based in Bethlehem. So I'd like to leave or close out today with an opportunity for you to get involved. If you scan that QR code at the bottom left of your screen, it will take you to our page and you can tell us how you would like to get involved. And as I said, this report will be available to you at any time. And now I would just like to open it up to any questions that you all have.
Great, thank you very much, Dr. Ochs. Yeah, we have a couple questions in here. It's amazing that the Marcon Institute was founded just in 2021, right? It's a couple of years old, with a gift from Bethlehem native Charles Marcon, and you've already done so much. It's really quite incredible, especially half of that being through COVID. So congrats to you and the team. It's really impactful. Linda has a question. How do you educate? And we only have, I should say, about 6 or 7 minutes left. So, and we have 1, 2, 3, yeah, we have a question and then a couple comments. How do you educate the community that activism and love are not opposites, that activism can be a form of love?
Activism can be a form of love. The question is, how can activism be a form of love?
Right.
Yes. So when we think about Bell Hooks's definition of love, she tells us that love is care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust. So anytime that we are acting with care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust, we are acting with love. It's sometimes hard to understand, right? Because love is relational. I may have the intention of acting with love, but my love may not be received that way. That's why a lot of what we do has to be in dialogue. It has to be in conversation with each other. It has to be understood relationally. That also means we have to research it in a different way. We have to use decolonized approaches to understand it. We have to use indigenous methods of understanding our relationships, because there's a knowledge that I have. And Jennifer, you're on my screen, so I'm just going to use you as an example. There's a knowledge that I have. And there's a knowledge that I have of you, or that I think I have of you, right? And there's the knowledge that you have to share. And there's the knowledge that you think that you have of me. Because we've met, we were talking about this beforehand, right? We've met a few times, not in person, but we know each other through each other's work. And so there's this also imagined relationship between us that we are constantly exploring. And what the Marcon Institute is trying to do is to get us to explore that a little more. Those relationships between us. Whether that happens in protest, whether that happens in the classroom, whether that happens in conversation, whether it happens during a webinar. But if we are acting with care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, respect, and trust, we can know that we might not always be read the way we intend to come across. So we should learn from the dynamics of that relationship how to better communicate so that we come across the way we intend. And that will ease the tensions.
Nice, thank you. Eddie Ramos, who has been a leader in Balance, our Black and Latinx alumni community, and a former trustee and very involved, has a huge network. So I'm so glad that you're here, Eddie. He says, I'm glad to see we finally have a resource like this at Lehigh. While you've given us a great look at what's happened thus far, I'd like to hear what you're strategizing for the next 3 to 5 years.
I love this question. Thank you, Eddie, for giving me a chance to address this question, because what I'm the most excited, so I'm very excited about, and I've talked with the provost about, and we're both actively researching how, along with other people, I don't want to leave anybody out, obviously facilities, a lot of people involved in us researching how to enhance housing affordability. To really enrich this program, all right, we need to deal with the lack of affordable housing that affects everyone, not just our students. And over the next 3 to 5 years, in addition to that, in terms of expanding capacity, I envision a literal treehouse on campus that I am imagining. It's called the ARC treehouse, right? The Anti-Racist Creative Collective. Creatives ARC, Anti-Racist Creative Collective treehouse, where people just get together in community and develop their ideas, whether they're research, whether they're sci art, whether they're tech, whatever your ideas are. There's a literal treehouse where we can get into a club, and it's not exclusive. It's not an exclusive club, and you don't even have to be good at art. We love muses. And so I would love for us to develop a space over the next 3 to 5 years where people feel like they belong, and where we can incubate really good ideas that innovate and drive our transformation toward anti-racism. And so beyond what we have done, those are 2 passion projects of mine.
Nice, thank you. And then just a couple comments to close it out. Anthony DiMaggio says, Rayhan Alam was accepted to UCSD, San Diego.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Katrina Branting asks, what is your heritage? Was it First Nation? Wondering from the very beginning story that you told.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for that question. I appreciate genuinely, I appreciate the interest in that. My mother, whom I was raised by, I was not raised by my biological father. My mother is Cherokee and Apache, full Cherokee on her mother's side, and Cherokee and Apache and others on her father's side. And so my ancestry is Cherokee and Apache. I also understand, but was not raised in the Irish culture, but my stepfather is of Germanic descent. And so a lot of the influences that have shaped my worldview have been the indigenous Cherokee worldview, the Apache worldview, less so, and also the German culture.
Well, German culture, you're in the right place here in Bethlehem. There's a lot of that here. Yeah, well, thank you. We are at 1 o'clock, and this has been great. Just an introduction of all the great things. And like I said, we will send out the links and the presentation for people to watch at home. And there's a lot of ways to get involved. This is a community effort. It's not just for students and faculty and staff. So, anyone who's in the community, when you come to campus, this is for you, for everybody. So. Yes. right. Well,
I
thank you.
cannot
so
stress
much.
that enough. This is
Yes.
for everyone. We will
Yes.
only succeed if this is something that most people embrace.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Holona. This has been fantastic. Yes, Reginald, of course, the alumni community. Reginald is also a leader of our balance group, former leader of our balance group, and is now on the LUA board of directors and very engaged in the community.
Any chance he's related to Todd?
I don't know.
No, excuse me. I mean, Alan Jennings. What am I saying? I was thinking of Todd Watkins, but I meant Alan Jennings.
I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much. And I will look forward to actually meeting you in person, and we can further explore.
Wonderful.
how we
Thank
can
you,
work
Jennifer.
together.
Thank
Great.
you. All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for everyone attending. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.